This is a video for the group that owns Cooley Optimus, Robin Christosino, Debbie Halliday and Renee Lane. Well gang, we took Greg out to basically our first prelim together. I know he'd done a bunch of prelims with Liz, and I did a modified on him a couple of weeks ago. All in all, it was a good round. Unfortunately, we had the most annoying, frustrating run out at a skinny coming out of the water. And I'm going to take 50% blame. Greg could have jumped it, but I also didn't give him a really, really good straight line, accurate ride to it. Unfortunately, we didn't get the jump on today's video. It was a sort of a big hanging rail in 5 strides to a skinny brush narrow. Anyway, the dressage was good. I will say Greg is so much easier at home in the big arena. These small dinky 20 by 40 dressage arenas are quite frustrating, especially in the canter. Like in a bigger ring with Greg, he much prefers it where you can really sort of send him on and push him on. Anyway, we did a decent test. It wasn't perfect or great, but we scored a 32.6, which sort of was, I don't know, around midfield. Obviously, I was busy riding him all week. Last week I was stuck down at Kentucky 3-day event, so I only got home and I schooled him on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I cross-country schooled him on Wednesday, and he was a good boy. The ground was a little bit hard, so I didn't jump too much, but he performed well in our cross-country school. And then on Thursday we did a show jump training, and Greg's a fantastic show jumper, like really good. I still feel a fair bit of greenness in him, to be honest, in the jumping. Like he's never quite like locked into the jump or looking for the jump like older experienced horses. He's a super jumper. Like he's got a big, careful, scopy jump, but he's sort of a little bit green in his mind, and but he'll get there. The dressage obviously is probably the biggest challenge with Greg, is having him collect and balance in the canter, especially after the extended canter, is very hard for him. I think it's sort of a bit of a physical thing. Basically our whole test was 7s and 6.5s. He gets a little bit wiggly if you look at his hips and his hind end there as you're doing the leg yield. He's got very bendy joints, and sometimes he sort of wriggles underneath you like a bit of an eel. I love how soft he is, but sometimes he's actually too soft. Waradaca is about 2 hours from our farm, so we left really early this morning, jumped in the car and walked the course a couple of times, and then Greg was on about 9 o'clock or something like that, so Steph gave him a little bit of a lunge just to get some of the nervous energy out of him. Then he warmed up quite well, and then went in, did a respectable dressage test. It wasn't amazing, but respectable. The jumping was amazing-ish. This would be Greg's strength. He's got a naturally beautiful, scopy, careful jump. And right from the first fence, you can sort of see that the horse has the will to jump clear. So as I said before, unfortunately at about fence 7 or 8 was a brush narrow coming out of the water. I'm still getting to know Greg. Obviously I can build this question at my house or at my farm for cross-country schooling and it's more of a matter, like when I came around to jump it a second time, Greg popped over it like it was nothing. A big part of it is like trying to get him to sort of land after the jump into water and be sort of looking up, scanning the horizon for a skinny. Rather, he sort of looks down at his legs and then it's a little bit confusing for him when he's not. You sort of show him the jump right at the last moment. Just going back to this round, I felt like he jumped a super round. I feel like being a little bit light on his back, he prefers. So with my riding style, it's quite American, a light seat. So we did the show jumping and then straight to the cross country. And Greg did well. I still feel that quite a fair bit of like greenness and unsureness in the cross country. He's obviously got a lot of miles on him thanks to Liz and a bit Lynn. He's still a little bit of a baby in his mind, like the really complicated cross country jumps combinations. I feel like he's got to take a moment and read them pretty well. But the single fences he gallops on. The hard thing with him is actually balancing his canter as you get closer to the jump. And I think he physically finds this hard as you're like try and gallop to the jump and then setting up far enough away from the fence that you can still meet the jump out of stride. Anyway, Greg finished in second place. We finished on a 31.7, so the only thing we added to our score was 1.2 time penalties. There's plenty of eventing on in the northeast over the next month or two. I'll be seeing a number of you at Tryon next week. And we can all catch up about Greg. And other than that, I think the smartest thing to do would be to try and run him in another prelim again in 2 or 3 weeks' time. Find another event for him, and obviously the jump that I had the run out on, I can build that at home, which is a skinny jump coming up a ramp out of the water. And I feel like jumping that a couple of times will get Greg to be spot on. Anyway, guys, I feel like Greg pulled up well. Obviously, Steph will chop them up tonight. But all in all, I'm very, very pleased with the way he went. Obviously, hugely disappointed at the same time when he glanced off that skinny out of the water. But this is the sport of eventing. Ups and downs, highs and lows, good and bad. But anyway, guys, Greg's in safe hands, and appreciate all the support.